How's it going, everybody? We're going to cover the Bears game right now, and I am slightly surprised. Actually, I'm incredibly surprised. Uh, the first truly dominant win we've had probably since 2018. Justin Fields actually looked like a NFL caliber quarterback, and I know I said that last week or 2 weeks ago, but we actually won. So, and he looked, I think, much better this week than he did any other week this year. What do you think?
I thought he definitely looked like he is improving. He continues to improve week after week. You can definitely tell that the Bears are definitely more of a run heavy team, and I definitely think that he's still relying on his feet a lot.
Mhm.
Um, he did have a few mistakes in there. He got lucky on that knee fumble whenever he
Mhm.
was scrambling outside the pocket, and he was I guess just kind of like doing like a weird crouch run or something like that, and his knee came up and hit the nose of the ball. And then he had the one interception, but I mean, that is what it is. But overall, I think if you look at Fields' progression from week one to now, I would definitely say he's improving.
So I don't think anyone can say that Justin Fields doesn't have what it takes to play NFL football at a high level. He's definitely got the athletic ability. He's still missing throws, like he's still overthrowing receivers when he's in a clean pocket, but there was definitely more good this week than bad. And we're recording this right after the game, so this is, you know, split reaction. Um,
And
it,
I will say this. Sorry to interrupt too. I couldn't tell. And after all the bad football play that I've seen this year, hitting a wide open receiver in stride, hey, that's impressive enough after what I've
mm,
seen this year. But I really couldn't tell, man. I mean, there seemed to be some of those throws and completions, like, oh my God, there wasn't a Patriots defender in a 10-yard radius. There were some blown coverages. And I guess what I wanted to ask was, do you think that was a Patriots defense collapse? Or do you think we're starting to see the Bears offense kind of start to open up a little bit and scheme guys open?
I think it's a bit of both. The Patriots defense has always been incredibly good and very
Hmm.
well coached.
Right.
I don't think they're ever going to play poorly for an entire game. There were some missed blown coverages and some missed tackles, but I think that the offense is starting to open up now, and Justin Fields and uh, Luke Getsy is starting to realize what he's got. And it's nice to finally see receivers schemed open. It's There were a few times where there were blown coverages, but I feel like the majority of the time where there were open receivers, they were schemed open, which we haven't had in years.
Right.
Justin Fields' stats overall were 13 for 21, 179 passing yards. Not stellar, but if you watch the game, dude, he had 82 rushing yards as well, and most of those came off of scrambles. Like he would run for 16 yards on 3rd and 15 and just get the first down.
Too, I think we need to stop looking at Justin Fields on a moniker of like a passing quarterback, where it's like, oh my God, he got under 200 yards. That's terrible. The reality is Justin Fields getting over 200 yards is kind of just a really good passing game for him because, like you said, he got over 80 yards on his feet. He's going to be a hybrid quarterback. If you want Justin Fields to be at his peak, he's going to be a hybrid quarterback. So I honestly think, him getting under 200 yards, that's not really as concerning as it should be because I don't really think, Fields is going to be the type of guy who's going to throw the lights out. He's going to be the type of guy who, hey, I'll throw when I can, but I'll scramble if it's there too. So,
Mhm. So if you combine total yards, he had over 280 total yards, which for a passing QB, let's say he threw for 280 yards. It's a pretty good game. Two
mhm.
touchdowns, one interception. He took 4 sacks, which I wanted to touch on this, man. I sent you something earlier in the game. Lucas Patrick was our starting center, former Green Bay Packer. Finally got his start at center, which I've been calling for 6 weeks, and it's week 7. Sam Mustipher has been starting for the entire season at center. looks absolutely terrible. And Lucas Patrick finally got his start. Yay, hooray. Gets injured on the second drive, is out for the rest of the game. Then Musper goes back in. And dude, he just looks like he has no clue what's going on.
Really.
Like, my God. And I know like playing center is one of the toughest positions to play in terms of, physicality and mental toughness because you're
Right.
basically the quarterback of the line of scrimmage. But man, dude, this dude just is not a good center.
Doesn't look like he's pro
No.
caliber.
Going to the running backs. It looked like Monty wasn't getting enough carries. It looked like we were focusing more on Khalil Herbert. But I looked at the stats. Monty had 15 carries to Herbert's 12 carries. They both had 62 yards even, and Monty had a touchdown. But it looked like Herbert was getting the bulk of the snaps. And I was gonna say if we're gonna roll with Herbert, why don't we just trade Montgomery while his stock's high? Like Herbert's 2 years into the league. Montgomery's 5 years is on a contract year. Uh, trade him. Trade him to
They
Buffalo.
Dude, your guys' rushing attack is honestly it's lethal. I mean, you put Herbert and Montgomery with Fields' ability to scramble outside of the pocket. You guys are a good running team, and it makes me sick to my stomach to admit that. But frankly, that I feel like kind of throughout the Bears' history, that always seems to be the case. I think that's a good idea. It's funny to me that you're sitting here complaining about Montgomery not getting enough carries at 15. I'm just sitting here as a Packer fan, just like, dear God, if Aaron Jones could get 15 carries, I'd be so happy. But yeah, maybe. I mean, that's the other thing I wanted to ask you as far as your state of mind. Do you feel like this performance by Fields with a win makes you happy enough? Because I know, for this season, your mindset's kind of like, Fields doing good and losing is the way you want to go. I mean, does a win, because I know that kind of might mess up your draft spot, does that make you happy?
Yeah. So a win like this, I can't be mad about. Like Justin Fields played his ass off. The team as a whole looked good. Defense played out of their mind. The running game is still a powerhouse, still number 2 in the league, I think, right behind Cleveland. Um, so yeah, if winning 33-14, I'll take it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, shit, dude. If we're being honest, you guys have the same record as the Packers right now. Frankly, you guys look better than the Packers and the Buccaneers right now. I know that's just based off of one game because I mean
Mhm.
against the Commanders, you guys pretty much look just as bad as the Packers. But I digress. Playoffs aren't necessarily out of the question for the Bears, as weird as that may sound. Just, I mean,
Especially, yeah,
seems weird, man.
yeah, NFC being a kind of a shit show conference. I
Yeah.
wouldn't. I'm not. I don't think we'll play this good every week. I think it was a product of us having like a kind of mini bye. Like we played week 5 or week 6. We played on Thursday, and then we get almost 11 days to
Yep.
prepare for this game. So I think that really kind of played into it. Our success against New England. Um, I don't think that we'll have this much success going forward, but it's a nice preview of what we hope to expect as Bears fans going into the future. Defensively, 3 picks, man, and 2 of them from our top 2 draft picks this year. Jaquan Brisker got his after he got kicked in the nuts by by Mac Jones, and who's the other guy? Kyler Gordon got his one-handed pick as well. Could have made it to the end zone if he was faster.
I
But
saw that.
yeah, man. I thought the defense would take a step back, especially with how many people we lost and how many people we cut. But and we have taken a step back, but we still have a solid defense, even though we're fielding, backups in some positions or rookies.
I agree. Honestly, the Bears defense doesn't look all that bad. This game, and I know you wanted to touch on it a little bit earlier in terms of the Jones Zappy weirdness of this
Mhm.
game. I don't understand why Belichick went with Jones when Zappy's been doing so good, and then Zappy comes right into the game, and then immediately he throws like 3 passes, gets a touchdown right away, and you think
Well,
like, okay, here we go, it's going to be the Zappy train or whatever. I don't really. I don't think that was really a good recipe for success in terms of what the Patriots did tonight. And I kind of think it probably threw Jones and Zappy off their game. But the Bears capitalized, man. You got to give credit where credit is due.
yeah. And it seemed like in the very beginning when Zappy first came in, scored 2 point or 2 touchdowns like that. His first couple of passes were to wide open guys, and it's I kind of thought that Mac Jones definitely could have made those throws, and those guys seemed like they were schemed open, or it was just he got lucky with the blown coverage. Uh, Outside of those 2 touchdowns, like once they got to 14 points, they kind of stalled out the rest of the game. And what's weird is that coming out of halftime, I don't know who the sideline reporter was. She talked to Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick said, "Yeah, Mac Jones is going to get some playing time in the second half. We're going to rotate him in," which I thought was a weird thing to do, but he didn't even do it. So Mac Jones sat the entire rest of the game.
I don't understand why a coach like Belichick would have a game plan like this. Like, man, you got to commit to a starter and just ride with it.
Mm-hmm.
If you want Jones to play in this game, ride with Jones. If you want Zappy to start and you want to ride that Zappy hand or whatever, ride with Zappy. I can't believe a guy like Belichick is sitting here like, well, I might take him out every other series and see how that goes. Like,
Yeah, that did not work well with Matt Rule last year when he had Cam Newton, Sam Darnold, and PJ Walker. Just like, oh, we'll throw him in there. We'll
yeah,
play the hot hand, even though none of our hands are hot.
and you could see Zappy like the whole time on the sideline, just basically the whole time trying to get loose and shit like that, which
Mhm.
kind of told me like, okay, this dude was not prepared to play today. Like he literally looks like he's actively trying to get loose. I
I
don't
don't know
know.
if he
It's
wasn't
weird.
prepared to play. I kind of feel like everybody kind of thought that Zappy was going to play at
Not
some.
like prepared to play in terms of not like, I mean, he was like prepped to play. I just think he figured Jones was going to get the start and probably play throughout the game. I mean,
Mm.
that's what I would figure at the NFL level. I wouldn't really figure a guy like Belichick going, every other series. And it's weird to start Jones, put Zappy in, and then after halftime, basically be like, yeah, I'm going to put Jones back in eventually. It's like, I don't know.
And he didn't, and that was what really threw me off coming out of halftime. Like, why would you do that?
And I guess
And then
I
he,
wonder what the quarterbacks are thinking. Like, I wonder what he's telling the quarterbacks. Like, if they're under the assumption, like, hey, maybe this series I'll play, maybe this series I won't. I don't know. We'll see. Like, I don't know. That's weird to me.
you can't rotate in guys at any position unless it's like a. I was gonna say unless it's like a defensive position, but even then, you're you lose any kind of momentum that you have, inside or on the field. So yeah, I guess Bill Belichick's gonna have to wait another week before he passes George Halas. I honestly thought, and I was gonna be really sad because it's kind of like, oh, he surpasses George Halas against Halas's old team. I'm kind of glad that he's got to wait another week. I respect the hell out of Bill Belichick. Like that guy will probably go down as the greatest head coach of all time. But not that it ain't your week this week, Bill.
These Bear records are kind of cursing teams, I feel like, because right when they started talking about the Packers, like, hey, if the Packers win today, they're going to surpass the Bears with the all-time NFL win record. I
That's
think
what
that
they.
was the game against the Giants, and shit has gone downhill since then. And then you
Mhm.
got this game where they're like, "Hey, Bill Belichick can surpass, George Halas," and then they look terrible. I don't know. There's some curse going around with these Bear records, man.
And it's so nice to like have a good offensive game for once because a couple weeks ago there was this crazy stat that was like, oh, Cooper Cup has more receptions than Justin Fields has completions. And I'm like, well, you can't say that shit now. So
True, true.
next week we play Dallas against Dak Prescott. He didn't really look that great last week or this week, I suppose, against the Lions. It's it's possible that we no, never mind. I was gonna say it's possible, but looking at that defense is like number one in the league.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll have as much success
This
as
is
I
what I
think.
was curious about: is how bullish on the Bears this game would make you. If this kind of is going to shift your mindset for the rest of the season.
It's given me hope on Fields. Like it's nice to see that it's nice to see him improve. Like visually, you can see the improvements. He's kind of standing in the pocket a little longer, and he's still taking sacks, which he shouldn't. Like he's scrambling outside of the pocket, throw the damn ball away instead of taking a sack. He's still got to work on that, but he's generally, like you said earlier, he's improving week by week, which is nice to see.
Not to take away too much from the recap, and this you can make this a short answer more or less, but are you looking at Fields right now like I'm trying to think of how to put this. Like, while he looks so much better from like what I've seen, and you can tell he's improving. I guess what I'm trying to ask is how far away do you think he is from what his peak could be? Like, and I know his peak could be, years away. I mean, he might peak 4 or 5 years down the road, but I guess like how much better do you think he needs to get? Like, do you feel like you're watching a good quarterback, or do you feel like you're just watching somebody who's just better than whatever the hell he
Yeah,
was in
I,
those first few
I
years?
I honestly have no idea how to answer that because he's still got nobody around him. Like
Right.
he's got a rookie left tackle. He's got a second and a or two second year right guard and right tackle, and he's got one guy to throw to on offense. You look at across the league. You look at Zach Wilson. You look at Trey Lance, and you look at Trevor Lawrence. All these guys have support and a nice cast built around them. Justin Fields doesn't have that. So I don't know if I can even really determine if he like what is I don't even know if I can tell you how good he can be.
Right.
I can tell you how good he is now with the shit around him that he's stuck with. But I would really love to see what he can do with a solid offensive line and maybe another passing threat.
It's fair enough.
And I don't want to trade for I don't want DJ Moore. I don't want Chase Claypool. I don't want to trade a second or a third round pick for has-beens. And not saying that these guys are has-beens, but these guys are projected, he's got upside. I don't want that. If I'm trading for a receiver, I want to trade a first round pick for a guy I know is going to be a good wide receiver. I want a DK Metcalf. I don't
Do you want that right now, though? That's my thing. Like, do you really want to trade a first round draft pick or draft capital for a wide receiver? Because I don't know if you guys are a wide receiver away
no,
from being like a
I
legit
don't.
threat.
I don't because I think if we do trade for DK right now, he'll probably give us an extra 2 or 3 wins,
Right.
which seems like a lot, but a true number one receiver can do wonders, as I'm sure you're very familiar with.
Yeah.
But I just really don't want to be buyers before the trade deadline. I want
I'm
to
with
trade
you.
as much as I can.
Dude, I did not realize how close that trade deadline
It's
is.
Wednesday, isn't it?
I think
This
it's
Wednesday.
the second, November 2nd, I think they said.
Oh, so we still got some time. I thought it was this Wednesday.
Dude, but even so, it's right around the corner, man. And I
Mm.
know as a Packer fan, we're not going to do a damn thing.
I think we'll get a knee jerk trade. You'll trade for Claypool or something, or
Dude,
Cortland
we
Sutton.
never do anything. Hey, remember last year it was OBJ. Oh my God, the Packers are going to get OBJ. We like offered him like the veteran minimum, and he said no. I'm going to go play for LA for millions and win a Super Bowl. So we're not going to get anybody in trade. But hey, you know what? At least I've accepted it because it is what it
Mm.
is at this point.
Well, you can still get him, bum knee and all.
Won't come in handy until what? Week 16, 17, and by then, who the hell knows what the hell we're
Well,
gonna.
you'll still be in running for the playoffs because the
Well,
NFC is shit.
I hope. I truly hope.
Yeah. So Dallas next week. I'm expecting a loss just just knee jerk reaction. I think even if we do play as good as we played today, I still think we'll struggle just because that defense is so talented and so ferocious. Oh
Right.
man, Micah Parsons might get like 4 or 5 sacks, man.
That's not. He's gonna feast.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick the Cowboys too. I just kind of feel like, I'm not going to say this was a fluke game. You got to give the Bears credit because they deserve credit. But I just feel like right now the Cowboys are the better team. And I just don't think the Bears are really a team that had much of an outlook on the season to begin with. So, it's kind of like what you're saying. You don't really expect this kind of performance, for the rest of the year. I think the Bears will kind of come back down to reality and the Cowboys will win, probably by like a touchdown.
I think it'll all kind of depend on how Dak plays
I agree with that.
because he's played 2 games this year, week 1 and then this week, and he hasn't looked good in either game.
He
They
needs
kind
to
of
keep it simple, and I think that's the difference between Cooper Rush and Dak. With Cooper, you just keep it simple. You don't make him air it out. You don't make him just throw a million passes. I think Dak is so concerned about trying to get the deep ball in and just like balling out that I think it kind of affects their gameplay.
trying to play hero ball all the time when you could just hand it off to Pollard or Elliott.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
Well, that's it for the Bears breakdown. Clearly, had a very good game. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, talk about the Bears and Packers and everything else.
How about them Cowboys?